Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Kayley Hamilton. Kayley, excited to have you on the show.
Gresh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm excited as well too. And Kaylee's doing so many awesome things. So before we jumped into talking about Kayley and having that interview, I want to read a little bit more about her so you can hear about some of those awesome things. And two-time Emmy award-winning producer and reporter, Kayley is the CEO and founder of Uplevel Agency, an impact-focused boutique public relations agency, turning founders into the go-to experts and visible thought leaders of their industries. Kayley has interviewed hundreds of celebrities reporting for top entertainment news outlets in Hollywood, including Entertainment Tonight, The Insider, and Us Weekly magazine, and she has been featured in Business Insider. Kayley specializes in brand PR storytelling and securing earned media placements in top-tier media outlets, placing CEO Ford brands and their business strategically in the spotlight so they can share their positive message with the world. And I was doing a little bit of homework before I hopped in, and Kayley has done so many phenomenal things, has a really inspiring story, and hearing about her journey where she said in one of the interviews that she was a shy girl from Colorado that always watched Entertainment Tonight, dreaming of interviewing celebrities, and those dreams became reality. So I love everything you're doing. And I think the thing I love even more than that is that we're really big on helping people to level up. So when I went to your site and it said media coverage that helps people to level up, I knew we were in the right place. So Kayley, excited to have you on the show. Are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Yeah, let's do it. I know there's definitely some synergy here. I love it.
Yes, we love synergy here as well. So I guess to kick everything off, I know I touched it a little bit, so let's rewind the clock, hear a little bit more on how you got started, what I call your CEO story.
Yeah, so I grew up, like you said, very shy, kind of insecure girl from Colorado, but I had these really big, massive dreams of wanting to interview celebrities. And I wanted to interview celebrities because they were such a contrast to me in my life. I was very much playing small, shy, small little life. And I was so fascinated by these people that were so courageous to make themselves so visible on this world platform that the whole world knew who they were. So I wanted to really know who these people were behind the characters that they portrayed in the media. And so I just really leaned into my dream and tried to rewrite my identity, who I believed I was, change that perception, and tell myself, if those people can interview celebrities on red carpets, why can't I? I know that I can do this. So I really leaned into it and got an internship at Entertainment Tonight, worked there for a handful of years, Us Weekly magazine. And I did it. I interviewed celebrities, connected with the human behind the character. And it was such an incredible experience. It really built me into who I am and just really built my work ethic. And I met incredible people and connected with the coolest people. It was just all the things. And then I I wasn't sure if I would ever become an entrepreneur or a CEO, but it was during 2020 when everything shifted for everyone. And I realized that's when I really discovered real life CEOs, through podcast interviews, through the media, through articles, TV. And I discovered these people outside of my little Hollywood bubble who were building incredible businesses and changing people's lives. And I just had something flip switched in me where I thought, wow, I want to now I want to work with these types of people. And so I joke that CEOs have become my new celebrities. So I left the entertainment industry to start my PR agency so I could work with incredible CEOs doing incredible things and help them reach audiences who need to hear from them, because I felt like during that time I was kind of struggling with what was next for me, my identity again, how I saw my future. And these incredible just thought leaders, experts, people just showed up for me, I felt like, by making themselves visible on things like podcast interviews. And so with my background in the media, I thought, okay, I know how to get people featured in the media, and I want to work with these types of people and business owners. So why don't I meld that passion and my background and expertise and start my agency? So today we work with CEOs and founders and entrepreneurs, and we help them reach audiences who need to hear from them by getting them featured in the media.
Nice. I absolutely love that. I love that phrase that you said of rewriting your identity, because I think so many
Mm,
times we can get stuck into this is who I am. This is all I'm gonna, accomplish or not accomplish or whatever that is. And we sometimes don't realize that we have that power, that pen, pencil, whatever it is in our
Yeah.
hand, and we have that opportunity to do that. So I love that, realized that and had that inflection point at different points in your life. But also I imagine that you're also helping clients to be able to realize that they can do that too.
So true. I know your perception really is everything. And I've learned how much it's changed my life by building up your just self-confidence. It's really important to have that. And it's easier said than done, but I have seen how it's changed my life. And I love to be able to shine the spotlight, not just through the media to get, eyeballs and exposure on people's businesses, but to get deeper into what my clients do, who they are as humans,
Mhm.
and the value that they bring to this world, and to remind them that they bring so much value and they are really special, and to shine that light within them so that they can shine their light out into the world. Yeah, it's really powerful and really it goes even deeper than the media exposure, which I really love.
Yeah, and I get chills just kind of thinking about that because I think so many times I can hear, your story, your journey in the same way, like those entrepreneurs that are probably doing really phenomenal things, but maybe don't even sometimes realize how powerful the things that they are, they do, the opportunities that they have, how they do have that I guess that opportunity and the weapon in their hand, so to speak, to be able to cast that light in such a strong way. But sometimes they don't realize that. So I love that you first of all shine that light and then help them to kind of be able to kind of see and make that impact.
I know it's hard. It's hard when you are living in it all day, every day. When you're building the business, you're so close to it, or you're just living your life and you think what you're doing is just average every day. And
Hmm.
truly, what holds a lot of people back from even going to try to get media exposure. They don't think that they
Hmm.
deserve it. They don't think they're interesting enough. And so that's what we really do is find the headline of their story and pull out those unique angles and really put a spotlight on the special parts of people's stories and journeys and their businesses and how they're helping the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful thing that you get to do and have that impact be made. So I guess could you take me through a little bit more on like how that process works? How do you make that impact when someone comes through your door, literally, virtually, and or any combination in between? How do you kind of have those conversations and take it from there?
Yeah, gosh. Just connecting with people, and I love to connect with them. Usually it's virtually. I mean, it's really
Mm.
powerful when it's in person, but just diving into, okay, how are they currently portraying themselves online? How are they showing up on social media? What is their headshot? What's their bio? What kind of content are they putting out? And then how are they showing up on their website, and kind of get a feel of how they're currently portraying their brand online. And then I love to connect on a call and really just get personal and dive into their background, their story, like what led them from were to where they are today. And that's when I kind of put my journalist hat back on, reporter hat, and I love to just ask the really deep questions and dive deep into who that person is, and so I can kind of frame it through my lens. Just from being a celebrity reporter, my job was to find that kind of juicy headline or that
Mhm.
powerful soundbite when interviewing celebrities, and so that's kind of the skill that I take into interviewing clients, potential clients, whatever it is. So, yeah, I like to dive into the depths of who they are, why they're building their business, what their mission is. And those layers are important because there are so many different types of media. There are articles you can get featured, you can get even just quoted as an expert in a newsworthy article. You can do podcast interviews, you can do TV, and there's all these different types of mediums that will highlight different parts of your story and your business because they are different types of mediums and they tell different kinds of stories. Um, so I love working with people who have some multi dimensions to them and some layers that we can pull out different angles for different types of media opportunities. Because that's when it's the most powerful, when we're able to secure opportunities for our clients across a lot of different media platforms, because that's just the most powerful, so you can reach wider audiences. So that's kind of how we start, is just diving deep into their stories.
Yeah, that ends up being so powerful, and you know, I'm thinking of it, or kind of like even like a language, so to speak, where you're able to kind of translate the stories, the journeys, put that journalist cap on, and be able to kind of see, like those stories, those layers, those dimensions that sometimes we don't always see, and see how that can translate to podcasts or to written opportunities or TV or whatever that might be. But I imagine you being able to kind of see that as part of that translation towards where a client wants to go so that they can get more of that exposure.
Right. It is a two-way street, like working with them to get really clear on, okay, how do you want to be seen? What is the long-term overarching goal here?
Mm.
How do you want to make an impact? What is the value that you want to leave when doing these interviews? And so it's tying that goal into the power of their story, I would say.
Yeah, and I feel like I always say we often can forget about the human aspect of business or the human aspect of life, but I imagine you do as well too. Those stories. Always say stories take the cake, and when you have that opportunity to really connect with a person on a humanistic standpoint, of course we want to know like what a person's doing, but I think to even know why they're doing their mission, their vision, with their story, all those things
Yeah.
just seems to meld or bring those things together so much more impactfully.
I know, it's so true. It's the why. That's what makes what people do the most memorable. It's like humans want to connect with humans. And at the end of the
Mhm.
day, the media are humans. Like we are telling your story and giving it to humans. And then the people reading the media are humans. And so it always comes back to that really poignant story that you can easily connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, would you consider that to be part of what I like to call your secret sauce? The thing you feel kind of sets you or the organization apart and makes it unique is your ability to not just see that, but also to help people to kind of recognize that and execute on that. Do you feel like that's part of what sets you apart?
Yeah, definitely. I know. I think it is and with my background in the way that we operate and our systems, how we take our clients through processes is getting to that deeper rooted level of their unique story. And
Mhm.
also shining a light on that, coming up with a really powerful way to storytell in that way when we present it to the media, but also presenting it to the media in a way that will resonate with them. Since we do have kind of a dual skill set, we have the PR pro side and we have the journalism reporter side. So we know how these newsrooms and journalists and reporters work. We know what kind of stories they want, how they want them presented to them, even just on a higher level of just communication, how they want to be
Mhm.
presented stories. So, yeah, I would say that's kind of the through line of some of our secret sauce.
Yeah, I love that, and I know one of the interviews I was listening to, and I wanted to ask you a little bit more about a phrase that I heard, earned media, and that's a lot of what you do. Meaning, I guess something that you have to kind of do something to earn or something to get. Is that a little bit more about what earned media is?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Great question. Yeah. So earned media is different from paid and owned. So owned media is your social media platforms, your website. You own it. You tell everyone, what you're working on, how great you are, so on and so forth. And then there's paid media, which is paid advertisements. And so that's you paying platforms to promote your services, to promote your products. And earned media is exactly that. It's earned promotion on third party platforms, which
Mhm.
means that you are getting endorsements from other
Mhm.
people about what you're doing, who you are, what you're building, what your business is. And that's really desirable because it is earned and it's an endorsement from a third party. And that's why PR is really powerful because it's different from the owned and the paid.
Yeah, it's just not like you're, ripping out the credit card, so to speak, and saying I'm paying for this opportunity. But I almost think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, like based off your secret sauce and all the awesome things you're doing, what consists of being earned is different from different media platforms. So I imagine like their checklist of things that they're looking for is different depending on what that might be. I imagine there's probably quality principles, but I imagine you being able to kind of have those connections, relationships, and of course the knowledge and experience helps out as far as like understanding like exactly how they would define being earned in their eyes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There are a handful of different types of earned. have earned media, and you don't have to have a gigantic business to get a feature in like a Business Insider. You could just have a
Mhm.
really interesting background and story, or to be doing something in your business that's just kind of unique. And yeah, you can get that feature in Business Insider. Or if you want to speak about kind of maybe like wellness or mindset topics, but your business is completely different from, really not in the wellness space, but that's a really strong part of your brand, then you can speak to wellness podcasts and share your story
Mm.
there, and how, mindset hacks completely helped you upgrade the way that you operate and help you run your business. You can speak on entrepreneur, even a podcast like this, like CEO podcasts, that are even more general and talk about your business and why you became a CEO. So yeah, there's different types of media that can definitely pertain to different types of who you are and what your business is.
Yeah, I love that. And just like my mind's racing just strategically, like how many, opportunities there might be in terms of like how you position, like you said, your brand, those initial conversations you're having about where do you want to go? What does that look like? What's in your story and how you can meld and bring those things together so that at the end of the day, you get that legitimacy and that added opportunity to be around more people.
Yeah. And even journalists, I mean, they're looking for experts. So if you have the credentials and the accolades, they'll want to speak to you about your industry topics. But then they're also writing stories on just personal experiences. Like if you've
Mm,
traveled the world, or if you've lived in this place, or if you've it could be the most random topic, but it's one that they are writing about, and they want your just personal background and experience. You don't need a credential on everything, but you just need experience, and it can be both professional or personal.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. Humans talking to humans, as you said so well, get that opportunity to again, craft that story so that you can be able to kind of be a part or top of mind of those phenomenal stories. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or even a habit
Yeah.
that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
Such a good question. I think my hack, which got me started into starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur entirely, is listening to podcasts, which goes back to exactly what we're doing right now. But like, podcasts have totally changed my life. I feel like they are truly like the curtain being pulled back on such high level, high caliber, valuable, powerful conversations that we would have otherwise never had the opportunity to listen in on, or be a part of, or connect with those people who are having these conversations that are so incredibly enlightening. And it's really important to just remember that seeing is believing. So for me, when I listen
Hmm.
to other CEOs talk about their businesses, talk about their journeys, it makes it so much more real for me to put myself in that position and to validate that it's possible for myself. So I'm just really grateful for all of the people who have done podcast interviews and have like had the courage to share their stories and to be super transparent with how they've built their businesses, the struggles that they've endured, the highs, the lows, all of it, because it makes it feel so much more real, um, just from a connection level, and for me to realize what's possible for me. So I feel like that's a hack, is just continuously listening to, and it doesn't have to be experts in my industry all the time by any means. It's just people building interesting businesses that I feel a little bit called to listen to. And yeah, again, going back to like the human to human, I feel really connected to them as a human. And by seeing what they've accomplished, it makes me realize, okay, I can accomplish big things too.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Obviously, I'm very biased, but I absolutely love that, and I feel like we could take that segment and put that in the intro to our all our podcasts because that's the heart of what's so beautiful about podcasting is you get the opportunity to hear those stories. But I love that you said seeing is believing because so many times we don't believe things are reality until we hear that somebody's doing that, or even I think one of the biggest things that I really take away, and I imagine you do too, is that when we're going through those valleys and those difficulties, those challenges, we can often feel like we're doing it all wrong. We got it all wrong. But when you start to hear,
Yeah.
like, okay, this person had this challenge and they're super successful. That's actually part of the journey. So it starts to reframe that reality and what that looks like.
It really does. I know. I'm just so grateful for, and even the biggest CEOs ever. Like I listened to the CEO, founder of Airbnb.
Mhm.
He was on the Diary of a CEO podcast, and that was just obviously a hugely successful company. And he was so open and transparent about everything he's gone through. And it's just, wow, I just feel very seen and validated. And yeah, that's really cool. And good for you for making the platform that you have and connecting with so many incredible people and allowing them to share their stories. Cause man, it's so powerful. So grateful for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, grateful for you as well. We had so many opportunities largely because of you and all the awesome work you're doing. So creating win-win opportunities where people at the end of the day get to tell their story. So there is more light on the reality of entrepreneurship and further on a deeper level, I should say, making it possible for those people to be dreamers and actually make that happen. So what would you
Yeah.
consider to be what I like to call more of a CEO nugget? This is a word of wisdom or piece of advice. I like to say it might be something you would tell your favorite client, or if you hopped into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Mm. I think my CEO nugget would be to invest in support in terms of mentorship. I would say invest in mentorship. When I first decided to leave my job at Us Weekly Magazine, I bought my first kind of start your online business course, and it came with, group coaching sessions, and it was my first foray into like anything business related. And again, kind of like the CEOs that talk about their stories on podcasts, I'm so grateful for the people who give back to the ones that are 10, 20, 100 steps behind them and share all of their knowledge and value and like guide you along the way. And they share their skills, they share their processes, their insights. And I've found mentorship to be really, really powerful again, where so you feel less alone, and you can ask people who have been there before. If you're struggling, they can support you. And there's so much, especially when you're going into entrepreneurship, there's so much you just don't know that you don't know. So
Mhm.
having that support is so powerful. So I would say investing in mentorship has been really helpful for me.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of this quote that you can see. So I think Einstein said you can see so much further by standing on the shoulders of giants, and
Mm,
I think that it's a balance between like having the ego to believe that you can start something and understanding that you don't know everything, and
right.
I love that nugget just because I think so many times we can get caught into the ego of feeling like we have to know all the things and we don't take those courses, we don't listen to podcasts, read those books, do go to that conference, whatever it is, so that we can continue to kind of level up and be better. But I think we're only discounting ourselves, but also the impact that we could be having.
So true. It is a balance of kind of the ego. Like the ego is important to remind yourself, like, okay, I have the confidence to do this. I believe in myself. I trust myself. I trust that I can figure it out. And if I don't have the knowledge now, I'll get the knowledge. But
Mhm.
also the other side of not having too much of that ego that holds you back from realizing there's so much I don't know, and having that open mind and open heart to bring in new bits of information to continuously grow and evolve. But yeah, you're so right.
Yeah, it ends up being a lot, very much so on that balance beam. You mentioned that self-confidence and how important that is as well too, because those could be things that can, give you the courage to be able to take those steps. But at the same time, too much of that might also be the arrogance, your downfall, and what could lead you to not taking on those opportunities or though that mentorship or feedback that we could.
Yep, so true.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, what would be your answer to my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO? Our goal is to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So, Kaylee, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Oh, well, beautiful question. To me, it just means like kind of leading in purpose, leading on purpose, however you want to put it. But it's like threefold. It's kind of leading my team on purpose and making sure we're always coming back to what our purpose is, what our mission is for what we're doing, and being that leader in that vision. leading my clients and the people I work with in the vision and in the purpose of what we're doing together, what we're building together, what that big, shiny goal outcome is that we're working toward. And then leading on purpose just within myself, being the
Mm,
CEO of my highest best self and making sure I'm always connected to the truest, highest version of me and who I want to become, who I'm embodying every day. And yeah, leading myself as the CEO of my life.
yeah, I love that definition. I appreciate you breaking down that threefold part because I think so many times when we take actions or make decisions, start a business, whatever that might be, we can sometimes forget about or discount like the impact that we're having in so many different ways by creating an organization with a strong purpose. You're also empowering your team, you're also empowering the
Yeah.
clients that you're working with, you're also might be empowering your clients as well too. But if we don't have that kind of
Yeah.
holistic look at the impact that we're making, we're not realizing the impact that we ultimately make and kind of the, I guess, the esteem with sometimes we have in terms of those leadership roles.
Yeah, you're so right. And I love that you said that, where it's empowering your clients to even empower their clients. Like there is that trickle effect where it does trickle down to the wider layers
Mm.
of people around us and who we're impacting. So, yeah, there has to be just kind of purpose for me, purpose and intention behind everything I'm doing because I know that it will kind of trickle out among everyone that I come into contact with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine that, you speaking with clients, a lot of that is probably the conversations that you're having when you don't realize that the impact that you're having, you just created this widget or did this thing and you're not realizing the impact. But I imagine that's a lot of the conversations you are having as far as creating those stories and being able to kind of share that in so many different ways.
I know, definitely. Yeah, I love to be able to just shine a new light from a different perspective. Seeing just different angles is really, really powerful and not getting so zoomed in on maybe a one track mind or one path or one way, and just having that open heart, open mind to see all of the different positive possibilities because our mind always tends to focus, it just inherently just wants to focus on like what are all of the negative possibilities, what are all the things that can go
Mm.
wrong. And then when you flip that, it's like let's just flip it and focus on all of the things that can go right and all of the incredible things that can happen. So yeah, it's fun.
It's powerful. Yeah. So many times we can ask, what if I fall, but what if we fly? And often we don't look
Yeah.
at that side. And that's where really phenomenal things start to happen. So, Kaylee, truly appreciate that definition. And of course, I appreciate your time even more. So, what I want to do now is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional that you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best people can get a hold of you, find out about all the awesome things you and your team are working on.
Yeah, thanks, Crash. That was such a lovely interview. I'm so impressed. You do such a good job. Wow. Thank you for holding such a lovely space for me. I really appreciate it. But I'd like to just leave this conversation reminding everyone listening that your story is really powerful and what you're creating is really powerful and it's really valuable. And people are waiting to hear from you. Audiences are waiting to connect with you. They're waiting to learn from you, be inspired by you, and ultimately work with you. And they can't do any of that if you don't get yourself visible, if you're not seen, and if you're not reaching them where they are and showing up where they are. So that's kind of my mission and purpose with all of this. And again, you can find me at Kayley Hamilton _ on Instagram, Kayley. And you can learn more about us at uplevelagency.com, uplvlagency.com.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Kaylee. To make it even easier, we'll have the links and information in the show notes as well too, so that everybody can follow up with you and connect with you and find out about all the awesome things that you're doing. But I truly appreciate that last point. I think so many times we don't realize that. I used to listen to this show that it said everyone has a story, and sometimes we don't think that we have a story. We don't realize the impact that we're making. But sometimes, as you said so well, it's just that different perspective or the knowledge and information that you have that allows us to see that we are really valuable and we can do some really phenomenal things. So thank you so much for making that possible for us today and so many clients you work with. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Grush. I really appreciate you. Thank you for having me.